Hello. So this lesson is 10.1 notes, and we're going to look at percents. So, number one, excuse me, percent or part one is percent equations last proportion. So we're going to look at proportion a little bit as well. Number one, the state sales tax is 7.75%. What will be the tax on a purchase price of $85? So before we can do anything with these percents, we are going to have to convert it to a decimal. So 7.75% is 7 point. Now, you can use a calculator, but 3/4 does equal. So 3/4 equals 0.75. Something you might remember, and you can just rewrite it as 7.75, and that is percent. So now we're going to have to divide it by 100, and that means that when we're dividing it by 100, we're moving the decimal point to the left. So we're adding a 0 here. There's two zeros on 100, so we're moving the decimal point 2 to the left. So 0.0775. So when we go from percent to a decimal, we divide by 100, and that means that we move the decimal point to the left by 2. If we are going from decimals to percents, we multiply by 100, and we move the decimal point 2 to the right. Okay, let's go back to this. So 0.0775, and so that is the state tax. What will be the tax on a purchase price of $85? So of $85, we're multiplying 85 by this tax rate. So 0.775 times $85, and when we put that in a calculator, 0.0775 multiplied by 85, we get 6.5875. Of course, we are talking about dollars now, so we're going to cut it off between the 8 and the 7 because we don't have more than the, we don't have thousands of dollars. We're going to have to just stop it. Round it between 8 and 7. So what we're going to do is this 8, we're looking at the number that is right of it. And since 7 is larger than 5, it's going to add 1 to the 8. So this is going to be 6.59 because 7 is larger than 5. So $6.59. Okay, next. What we're going to do is we have 336 students, are what percent of 840 students? Now, what we're going to use here is what's called, and I'm going to actually take a blank piece of paper here. We're going to use a proportion like it says here. A proportion meaning that we have part over whole, and this equals percent over 100. So this whole is what you compare to. What are you comparing to? And it usually follows the words than or as, where part is the difference of change. Than or as. Well, in this case, actually, it follows the word of. So 336 students are what percent of 840 students? The whole here is the 840. 336 is the part. That is what we're comparing it to. And now, what we're going to do is we can just do this like it is and do the calculation. 336 divided by 840. That is 0.4. So 0.4, what percent? When we are converting decimals to percent, we're multiplying by 100 and moving the decimal point 2 to the right. So 1, 2. This would be 40%. So 336 students are 40% of 840 students. Okay, next, number 3. 1,190 miles is 140% of what number of miles? So 1,190 miles is 140% of what number of miles? So this has to be our part. So that has to go on the top, 1,190 miles. Now it's asking of what number of miles. Well, we don't have that. That's our whole that it's asking for. And then we have 140%. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write the 140% like this. But now we're leaving that percent sign because we have the over 100. We can't do double. So 140 over the 100. And now what we're going to do is we are going to cross multiply over here. So x times 140 equals 1,190 times 100. So we cross multiplied. Now, in order to get rid of this and to figure out what x is, first we can do this multiplication actually. So we're multiplying by 100. This would be 119000. We're moving the decimal point 2 to the right because we're multiplying by 100. And we still have this 140x. I just swapped them. There's a multiplication in between, which we don't write. So now what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by 140. Because 140 divided by 140 is going to be a 1. So now we have 1x. And what we do to the left, we have to do to the right so that kind of our scale, this equal sign, stays in balance. So now we're going to do this division. So 119,000 divided by 140. And when we do that division, it is 850. Do it with a calculator. So 1,190 miles is 140% of 850 miles. Now notice that yes, our whole is smaller than our actual part, but this is more than 100%, so it should be. So if the percentage is more than 100%, our part is larger than our whole. Okay, let's look at number 4. So 42% of 800 grams of a chemical is pure. How much of the chemical is pure? 42% this of here means a multiplication. So when you see something like this, it means that we're going to multiply that 42% by 800. Now, before we do that, we have to convert 42% to a decimal. So we move the decimal point that is over here on the right, 1, 2, 0.42, and leave that percentage. Or what you can do is you can just divide 42 divided by 100 and you get the same answer. So 0.42 times 800. And again, when we take the calculator and do that calculation, so 0.42 times 800, that is 336. And this is 336 grams. I forgot the miles from here. Don't forget the units. Okay, next one. And at any point, I recommend to, pause the video, try this problem on your own, and then continue, to see if you got it right or not. But yeah, keep pausing the video and trying these on your own, especially now that we've gone over a couple of examples already. So number 5 here, we have 207 employees is what percentage of 59 employees? So 207 employees is what percent of 59 employees? That means that 207 of 59. So over 59. And then what percentage? We don't know that. So our percentage is this time going to be an X. And then we're going to divide it by 100. And again, since we have a proportion, we're going to cross multiply here. So 59 times X. Again, I'm not writing the multiplication. It is in between there. And then 207 times 100. So 59X equals 20,700. Now I just moved the decimal point from here to the right and added the 2 zeros on there. You can always use a calculator if you're not sure. Now we need to get rid of this 59, so we're going to divide both sides by 59. These become a 1. So our X equals, and now the answer is going to be 350.85%. And when you put it in the calculator. So now we are rounding it to the nearest percent. And again, the number to the right, which is the 8, is greater than 5. So we're going to add 1 here. So our answer is 351%. And again, it's over 100% because if we look at it, 207 employees of 59 employees. So our whole is smaller than our part. So our answer is going to be over 100%. Okay, next, number 6. So 28 cents is 9% of what number? So this is going to be our part. So 28 cents of what number? We don't know the whole, so we're going to mark it as X. 9%, we know the percentage, that's 9 over 100. And again, we're going to cross multiply here. So 9 times X equals 0.28 times 100. So 9X equals 28. And then we divide by 9. And we get $3.11. And again, do that calculation with a calculator, 28 divided by 9. Okay, number 7. In an election, 68% of the 12,452 registered voters actually voted. How many people voted? So we know the number of registered voters, so that will be our whole, 12,452. We don't know, it's asking for the part, so that's what we're going to mark as X. And then our percentage is 68 over 100. And again, we are cross multiplying here. So 100 times X. I'm always putting the one that has the X onto the left because it's just easier to solve it that way. And then 68 times 12,452. So we're going to have to, use a calculator here. 68 times 12,452. Oops, not 57, 52. And we get, so that's 100x, 8, 4, 6, 7, 3, 6. Where's my 1, 2, 3? There's my comma. So 846,736. Now we are dividing this by 100. And again, our decimal point is here. So we can just, scoot the decimal 2 to the left, or we can do divide it by 100, which X equals 8,467.36. Well, we don't have a 0.36 voters, so we're gonna round it. And since the number to the right of it, 3, is less than 5, we're gonna leave the 6 as it is. So our answer is 8,467 voters. Okay, let's move on to the next one. No, not yet. We've got 8 still before we move on to the next page. So let's do number 8. 18.5% of what amount is $14.80? So again, of what amount is your whole? So we don't know that. $14.80 is the part. And then we have 18.5% over 100. And yeah, I wrote the half with a 0.5 because if you're not sure, then do it with a calculator, but this half here is the same thing as 0.5. And now we're gonna do the cross multiplying here. So we get 18.5x equals, do I have enough room? 14.880 times 100. So 18.5x equals, and I'm going to move that since we're multiplying 2 to the right, for 1,480. And divide by 18.5 both sides. So 18.5 divided by 18.5 is 1. And when we do this calculation, we get 80. So it's $80. So 18.5% of $80 is $14.80. Okay, let's move on to number 9. So Janelle had budgeted $250 for textbooks. She ended up spending $390. The amount spent was what percent of her budget? So where are we? She ended up spending. So that is our whole this time. 390. No, our part, I mean. That is what she's spending. Our whole is what she had budgeted. So 250. And then the amount was what percent of her. So percent divided by 100. And then we are going to go ahead and cross multiply. So 250, hold on. So where's my X? My X is here. Why did I do percent? Okay, sorry about that. So this should be X because we don't know what percent. So that's our X. 250X equals 390 multiplied by 100. So 250X multiplied by, or 390 times 100 would be 39,000. And then we're dividing by 250 both sides. This equals 1, x equals 156%. And again, we are over 100% because she spent $140 more. Okay, number 10. Dave has 4.5% of his earnings deposited into a money market. If this amounts to $146.25 per month, find his monthly earnings. So this sum here is the part. So 146.25 over, and it's asking for the monthly earnings. So the whole is going to be our x, and then we have our 4.5%, 4.5 over 100. And again, we cross multiply here. 4.5 times x equals 146.25 times 100. 4.5x equals 146.25. There's our comma, and then we divide by 4.5, and our x is 3,250, and actually we need to fit the dollar sign in. So $3,250 is his monthly earnings. So 4.5% of 3,250 is the 146.25. Okay, number 11. Lynn needs 60 credits to graduate. So far, she has earned 51 credits. What percent of the required credits does she have? So the part is going to be how much she has earned, so 51 over the whole, which is the 60 credits. And then it's asking for the percentage, and we're going to do that over 100. And again, we are cross multiplying here. So 60x equals 51 times 100. And that is 5,100. And we divide by 60. And when we do that, we get 85%. Now, this one and this one here, both of these could be done with just doing 51 divided by 60, and you get 0.85. And then you multiply this by 100, so you get 85%. So where you know the part and the whole, and it's asking for the percentage, you could just do the division, just like here. We could do 390 divided by 250. And we get 1.56, and then multiply that by 100 to get the 156%. But if you're not sure if you can do that, then use the proportion and the cross multiplication, because you're going to have to use it in, for example, this case anyways, where we don't know the whole, or if we don't know the part. Okay, let's move on to part 2, which is percent increase and decrease. So number 12, in England, the base cost of a loaf of bread is £4, but the listed price after taxes is £4.72. What is the tax rate? So the part here is going to be, because it's asking for the tax rate, we're going to have to subtract these. So 4.72 minus 4 is 0.72. That is our part. Now our whole is the one that is before the taxes. So our whole is 4. And remember, part over whole, so 0.72 divided by 4. And when we do that calculation, oops, where's my, what am I doing? 0.72 divided by 4 is 0.18. And then we convert this decimal to a percent by multiplying by 100, and we get 18. And that is 18%. Now, when we write the answer, so was the percent, was it an increase or a decrease? So what happened here? The tax rate increases the rate. So this one is an increase. Next, 13. So be careful with what is the part and what is the whole. Number 13, your gross monthly income is $4,083. After taxes and other deductions, your net pay is $3,223. What is the percent taken out each month? So our part here is going to have to be, we're going to have to subtract because it's asking what is taken out. So we're going to do the subtraction, and when we do it, we get 860. Our whole is this number here. That is what we get before the deductions. So now our part over our whole, oops, 83, not 38. And then when we put it into a calculator, we get 0.2106. And again, we're going to multiply by 100. So move the decimal point here, and we can round it to 21%. So that is 21%. So now, what is the percent taken out each month? That means that it is the percent decrease. We're decreasing it by 21% because we're taking it out. Okay, number 14. According to the Texas Tribune, the 2012 annual cost of an education at the University of Texas was $9,794. This is tuition fees. According to UT Watch, the 2001 to 2002 average tuition and fees was $4,226. What was the percent increase over the decade? Well, over here, we already know because it says increase that this is going to be an increase. And tuition never goes down. It increases always. So we're going to first have to subtract again 9,794 minus 4,226. And when we do that, we get 5,568. Now, what is our whole? What are we comparing it to? We are comparing it to the 2001-2002 tuition. So our whole is 4,226. So now our part 5,568 divided by our whole 4,226. That is 1.3176. So again, we're going to multiply by 2, or multiply by 100, move this decimal point by 2. So we get 131.76%. Well, now we're going to get rid of these decimals. So 7 is greater than a 5, which means that we have to add 1 over here. So we get 132%. Okay, that's it for 10.1 notes. So let me know if you have any questions about anything. And yeah, do not hesitate to email me. Bye.